Hey everybody, it's Texas Stroker here, Lance's Performance Shop, Lone Star, Mopars.com. If you recall, last week we took a look at some brand new stuff from Wera, including this number 2 Stubby. Still mandate, personally. I think they should have put the laser tip on that. They've released standalone combination joker wrenches. Note non-ratcheting function on the box end, and then on the open end, the lack of the holding function, if you will. So kind of just a regular run-of-the-mill wrench with joker flavor. Couple of the items that we missed out on, the adjustable wrenches. There's 3 different sizes, still don't have one of those, but what we do have, y'all said you wanted to see, and you wanted to see it ASAP, and we're just going to cut to the chase right here. That is the new turbo. That's right, last time we took a look at that stuff, we also did the Easter egg. Again, timestamps, I can't stress this enough, timestamps and links are always in the description box. You're going to have to click see more. But when you do that, you can go straight to the product website, you can order it, and you can do whatever you want to. I get nothing off of that. I'm not commissioned. It's just me making your life easier in the event that you want to check it out further. Read reviews, just put in a purchase right away. Whatever you want to do, all that stuff, whether you want to just skip around, is there for your convenience. With that said, this is the turbo, and of course I tried to get it the first time. It wasn't available. That's why I didn't bring it in with the first tool haul. That's why you didn't see it last week. And it's important to understand I have a crud ton of tool hauls, a lot of standalone videos, a lot of other content to push on the channel. Like, it's edited, it's uploaded, it's ready to go. I just have to schedule it. And I'm sort of jumping ahead here, but it was overwhelming that people wanted to see this now. If I were to keep this in the tool haul, I'll just say it would probably be like 2 to 3 months before you'd see this one. Sticking with the Saturday release schedule, so trying to do you a favor here on that front. But what I want to stress, in the description box down below, in addition to linking to the products you're going to see here, I'm going to link to sets, because that's important you understand. I opted to do something a little different. This is the standalone Kraftform turbo. That's all it is. There's no bits included. A lot of you, if you want to jump down this rabbit hole, you're probably going to go for the kit. You're going to splurge a little bit. It's going to be in the typical, like Wera textile packaging, which never seems impressive when you look at it on the internet, and then you get it and it actually turns out to be pretty durable. That stuff, it's going to be equipped just like, I brought this specifically back out from the house. It'll be just like this from the Easter egg, just in a much bigger form factor, of course. And so a lot of you are going to go that route. Some of you might be kind of skeptical on the fence, play it safe, go this direction like I did. Some of you already have the bits, but we're going to cover all that. But I'm not just going to do the turbo here, okay? We're also going to showcase the bits. We're not going to spend much time on these bits. I'm going to tell you that right now. It's a bit, you know what it is, you know what it does, you know who it's from. And what I opted to do to kind of get the full experience is this, all right? So instead of coming in, the justification I have for not buying a kit is twofold. Number one, I don't really need it. Number two, so many of the bits would rarely, if ever, be used, type of a thing. Posi drive, not in my life, okay? Maybe in freak circumstances, I would need it, but it's something I can get by without. The square stuff, every once in a while, like on a window screen repair. It's not like my daily ordeals, my weekly adventures. I'm not going to run into that frequently enough to feel the need to say, yeah, that's what we need. So I kind of kitted out my own little setup here. So we're going to get started. We've got a number 1 Phillips, because I thought that would be handy to have with the turbo. I'm thinking small electronics. Of course, the most commonly used, a number 2 Phillips. And then this is where I kind of went a little overkill. You don't have to do this. I thought, hey, why not? We're here. We're making content, kind of showcasing things. This is a standard number 2, but it's stainless. That's a special one. This, I guess, is my regular number 2. Not sure what that one was that's not labeled, actually. We'll figure it out later. This right here, golden one, it's not titanium. This is just a power bit, and it's actually cheaper than the standard one, go figure. And then right here, T25, you always hear me talk about the T25, so I'm thinking, what's one screw that I would want to get out with the turbo and get it done faster? A T25, because I don't enjoy taking them out because they're sunk into crates all the time. And then right here, slotted bits, I opted for the 6.5 and the 5.5. Now, if you'll note, we'll just highlight it right here. All of these share one thing in common, okay? 89 millimeters, that is the length. If we come in right here to a standard bit like you're typically going to have, this being a bit of Thinks, which is a Wera Bit, that's what you would be running. If you go double decker, okay, 50 millimeters, you'd have something like this T25 Terminator from Wiha, and then this kind of thin, funky one from Felo. That's 25, 50 millimeters respectively. These suckers, they are 89 millimeters, and you will see why in just a second. And it's primarily just because that is about as good as it gets in terms of recreating a standard size driver. Compromising a little bit, you know, you would think 100 millimeter 4-inch shaft would be the most common, and then if you also factor in people scaling down for, say, a number 1 Phillips, a smaller slotted, going a little bit bigger, this is, I guess, sort of like the happy medium. Okay, so that is an 89 millimeter blade. For comparison's sake, and the black glove, we're going to come in right here. This from Wiha for your viewing pleasure. That's the Terminator sleeve. That's 50 millimeter. Lining it up as best I can for you in my palm. And then right here, just a standard 25 millimeter bit. So 25, 50, 89, stair-stepping in that order. Again, the logic, I believe, would just be that would most closely mimic what you would want if you were to create a drive structure for the turbo. Now, before we jump into the turbo, that's right, there's more Wera goodness. It's brand new. This is a pretty stealth acquisition. When I posted the picture of the turbo, seeing when people wanted to see it, well, this is one of the things that I didn't really specify much on. I didn't even tell you I have it. In addition to this being available and also in kit form, they've done the same thing with 89 millimeter blades with a T-handle. If you'll note, Wera, in addition to all of the other new stuff they've cranked out, has several new T-handles. From nut drivers, from dual drive, where you kind of got like a hex coming out 90 degrees and straight down with a ball end. Lots and lots of stuff there. There's one part, though, which is 416R. That's going to be the part number that you're going to want to know. If you want to punch it in on KC Tool, 023404. Now, keep in mind, with all the craziness in the world, they're not able to like be in the office all the time. They're doing pretty dadgum good from home, because there's a lot of new stuff, including from Wiha as of yesterday. Most of it is up. This is one of those things, doesn't have a picture yet, so a lot of people are going to skim past it. This is part number 416R from Wera. This is brand new. This is their Rapidaptor T-Handle. So if you're unfamiliar with a Rapidaptor, that, my friends, that's a Rapidaptor, just like you're going to see there, just like you kind of saw last week. Now, this is their new T-handle structure. This is sort of a twofold purchase to kind of showcase how the T-handle would work. That's it. It locks in place. You're done. That stupid gnat, I'm telling you. It's either snowing or it's like the bug infestation around here. Anyway, this is the 416R T-handle, and then you can see it kind of equates to a pretty decent little setup here, the way they've extended that, which roughly comes out, you know, to around your 100 millimeter length you would want. Now, I had two reasons for bringing this in. Number one, it obviously plays in perfectly. Everything that I brought, that I just threw down for the turbo, will plug and play with this T-handle. All right, it's one and done. It's not custom, it's not proprietary, it's standard. If you've got a collection of bits from brand X or your favorite, whatever they are, if they are standard 1/4-inch drive, you are home free. Everything's going to plug in. It's going to be accepted. You can one-hand operate all this stuff, right? Just eject it that easy. Put it back in. You actually don't need to pull back. It does it automatically. As you can see, secure connection. The other reason I brought this in, this would be the most bang for my buck in terms of evaluating Wera's new T-handle. I'm the type of person, if you come in and you want to get a set of, say, SAE T-handles, right, that's a pretty big set, you know, 9, 13 sizes in some cases, and subsequently the price goes up. You can bring them in individually, you know, and kind of feel out, you know, like, hey, this 1/8 inch one's awesome, I'm just going to pull the trigger on the whole set. But by doing it this way, instead of just having one freak random one in the event that we didn't like it, I've got something that I can actually get multiple functionality from. Case in point, slotted, Phillips, Torx, nut driver. Whatever I want to plug into this is a lot like Felo Smart Handle, in essence. We can do it, and I can do it across brands. So if you're heavily invested in Wiha bits of some sort, there you go, cross-compatible. If you've got a ton of stuff from DeWalt or Milwaukee, it is all going to work with this new T-handle from Wera. So, that was my logic for bringing this thing in. The price point as it stands right now, $28.25. I'm going to set that right there. Note, the hanging hole is fairly comfortable. I might prefer something a little different, but again, I haven't gotten to actually use it yet, aside from pull it out of the box and kind of bench test some stuff. So there that is. Now, what I want to recap here is these bits real quick for you. And everything we brought in, we're looking at a grand total of $30.64. Now, you can wait around and tell me if there's like a bigger promotional sale from Wera, maybe a quarterly type of a deal. And you got to realize the bread and butter of this set's dirt cheap. Okay, if you took away my little splurge for the stainless, that sucker was the most expensive. It was $7.58. Taking that away, we have all those bits minus the stainless for about $23. If you were to take away my T25, which was $5.17, we're under $20 for everything you saw there. That's going to be 2 slotted Phillips 1, 2, and 3, and the random throw-in of a Phillips power bit. The slotted, for what it's worth, the one you see here and the one underneath, $5.33 a piece on those. Phillips were basically $1.76 to $1.95, and then, like I said, the power bit, which one would assume would cost more, $1.57. So if you deal with square drive all the time, buy the square drive. If you burn through number 2 squares, buy an extra one. You know, if you deal with T7 Torx all the time, equip it that way. You can come in and go with Wera's kit, which is going to be nice, give you a good assortment of everything. But if you're well established, or you know what you need, or you're like, all I'm going to use this for is a, 3/16 nut driver, a 5.5 slot, and number 2 Phillips, do it that way. You have the freedom, with this being universal and not proprietary, locking it down to only their bits or something along those lines, to customize and tailor this however you want to. And in my opinion, that is a beautiful thing. So, case in point with the T-handle, that is our 89mm brand new stuff that we just got. Knock that out. I can come in here to Felo, right? Just standard double bit. Put it in. Ooh. Okay, there we go. It locked into place. I was going to say, maybe not. I will eventually get that nut, I promise you. But as you can see, fully secured. If you swear by these Felo bits, if they're your favorite thing ever, if you've got tons and tons of them, full sets and everything you use, you're not obligated to pick this up in one of Wera's sets. You're able to come in and just pick this up standalone and use what you've got. Wiha, if you're heavily invested with their Terminator bits, boom, locked and loaded. A little overkill, yes, but it makes for a good picture for you. And then again, this is a huge deal right here, just having a standard bit. This is the bit of thinks. If you just use bit drivers the majority of the time, it fits, it works, it locks in place. It actually fits really, really well. It fits the best out of any of this stuff, including the 89mm. So, that is the T-handle in a nutshell, and we can now move on to what the main feature is here, the turbo. Okay, this one, with the Easter egg here, I opened this up. I thought this guy right here was going to be a standard size driver. It was way smaller, and that was kind of like surprising to me. I assumed this would also be standard size, and guess what? It is. So, pick this up again from KC Tool. The part number that you're going to want to utilize is going to be 057480. That will be for what you see here, the standalone driver handle. Price point currently brand new, fresh off the shelf, $82.50. Again, Wera's pretty good with kind of like quarterly promotions. So there's a chance come summer or fall, particularly around Christmas, you could pick this up for way less money if it's something you're like super cool, want to check it out, don't want to pay that price. Keep in mind, this is probably the premium point, so it's likely to go down, as you progress, but it's a question of how bad do you want it? Do you really need it? How excited are you? Can you hold out and wait? It can also be tool of the day and shave a good chunk off. You just never know. Packaging, again, with pretty much everything Wera is clean. This is filthy because of my gloves. And, I'm in the heart of the Ballistol spill. I can say I love the stuff, but I want to update my review video and say use it outside. And God forbid any of you ever spill this on a concrete floor, because I can't get rid of it. And by get rid of it, I mean A, the stain, and B, the smell. Every time you come in the shop, it's overpowering, and it's because it spilled. And I've hit it with everything I own: Crud Cutter, Goo Gone, Simple Green, Grease Lightning. I don't know what else to do. Like, I can't clean it with Ballistol, you know? But there's a huge puddle down here that's made a massive stain. It's almost like spread out like transmission fluid. Not quite as bad, but pretty close. When you've been in here, you know, 10, 20 minutes, you kind of adjust to it. But every single time I come out here, whether, you know, I just run inside for a drink, go to the bathroom, come back out, check, make sure I'm not burning the house down, it's terrible. And I really do like the stuff, but good Lord, do not spill it. Whatever you do, do not spill it. You will live to regret it. But here we go. This kind of shows you what you need to understand about this. This is going to be a standard kind of bit holding handle. It's got the Rapidaptor end like you see on our T-handle, but on the end, where you would typically have like your number 2 laser tip type of an etching, there's a button that says press, and you're going to want to press that, and that is going to engage or disengage the turbo mode. Now, what does the turbo mode do? Well, it's essentially where you're going to need to hold right here around the collar. But when you make one complete turn with a handle, the shaft has turned 4 times. Again, gears are a multiplier of torque, right? You probably heard that in shop class back in the day. This is an example of that. You know, I make 1 revolution here, and this hand makes 4 revolutions simultaneously. They're intertwined. This one goes A to B, this one goes A to B 3 additional times. It's pretty cool concept, I've got to say, and the biggest thing about this, it's all manual. It's all mechanical. There's no battery to recharge. There's no battery to fail. There's no battery to melt. Nothing to set fire. Nothing crazy. It is all produced by hand. And that has an inherent beauty for a lot of us. So this is it. This is what we've got out of the box. We're going to set that down. I will tell you again, though, that is not a sticker. That's clever, nice designed advertising. But no sticker again. You know, I'm not necessarily a sticker guy, but I'm not near as upset about no sticker here as I am with the Easter egg, because that was truly a missed opportunity. But with the turbo, I'm just saying, you know, an incentive for a lot of people, you know, have your standard cool, you know, tattoo logo sticker for the Tool Rebels, but then maybe have text under it that says turbo. You know, and then a lot of those people on the fence about getting it now or waiting for a sale price or something, they're going to grab it now. It's kind of like, you know, with new releases on video games or CDs or vinyl or something, you know. First X number of copies or anything bought during X period of time gets the bonus, you know. You wouldn't want to do that all the time, because then people would kind of be like, oh, yeah, it's one of those gimmicks again. But I think it does present an opportunity to reward people that are huge fans of your product or willing to try something new and foreign to them, and be like, cool, you know, bonus contents. All right, just my thoughts. Let me know if you agree or disagree. The manual, nice and simple. The VDE version, I don't know that it's available yet, but I think it's going to be very, very soon. So if you like what you see here, but you're like, no, I can't justify that. If it was VDE, I'd be all over it. It's coming, complete with the blades as well. I do believe they will be 89mm, if I'm not mistaken. Just like what you see here. So flipping her around, this would be one of the kits. Now it's important I tell you, you know, you don't get to like stock your own bits. I'm sure eventually, I shouldn't say sure, but Wera tends with their textile and canvas stuff to offer it as a standalone. That's most likely in the event that we bought the kits. I take it, I left it in the back of my truck. It got soaked, it deteriorated, a dog chewed it. Although German tool reviews did have a dog attack some of this stuff. It was the bigger pouches. Held up decently. But long story short, dog eats your homework type of deal. I would think at some point you could probably get this standalone, and then we could come in and I could actually kit it out with what I want to. You know, take it for what you will. But same thing here with our VDE stuff. The battery light is flashing, which is terrible timing. So essentially, we're going to read the English stuff here. So, faster screw driving. The construction of the Kraftform turbo allows a quadruplication, I love that word, of the speed when manually screw driving, purely mechanical, without electricity. With and without turbo. If required, the turbo function can be activated by simply pressing a button. Turning it off is recommended for loosening or the adjustment and final tightening of the screw with a high torque. That's important. That is imperative that you understand this. If we have a screw that's seized or something locked down or something tight, you don't want to have turbo mode engaged and try to break it free. Similarly, if we've used turbo to drive down a long screw and we get to the final point, we're just going to bear her down, and keep turning her. Don't do that with turbo mode on. You might even switch drivers just to be safe. It's going to shine, from above to below. If this blue of the Omega M is where the screw head is, and this is the length of the screw, this area here is where it's perfect. When you get down here, you don't want to tighten in turbo, and you don't want to break it free in turbo. Once it's broken free, turbo mode on, right? Once you're ready to drive the screw down, engage the turbo. But when you get to that final point, breaking it free or final tightening, do not engage the turbo. It's plain and simple, right? So the handle interchangeable blade system. Not sure that you can even see that, so I'll just read it. With its 9mm mounting, the Kraftform Turbo 827 Ti is suitable for all Wera Kraftform compact VDE interchangeable blades. The Holder interchangeable blade system stands for flexible working with many screw profiles. They say it's a robust, maintenance-free gear made of steel, maximum torque being 14 Newton meters. Never immerse the device in petrol or solvents, otherwise the lubrication of the mechanics will be compromised. But once again, bread and butter, you're going to come in right there. 1 turn of the handle, 4 turns of the shaft. This will engage or disengage. There's your VDE. And right there is a good look at the gear set. I'll link also to Wera's site. You can watch the little video that kind of shows it in action if you would like, and that would kind of give you a better understanding. I'm not going to dismantle this one. Here she is in hand. This is the turbo. So right now turbo mode is on. So when we flip it over, you're going to see the button that says press. I'm going to press it. Turbo mode is off. You can see right now this is not, I'm not able to turn the chuck. I'm not able to turn the handle. They're going together. So when you look at the Wera and you look at my thumb here on this portion of the logo, they turn in unison. Also, take note, it's got 20, which means it was made this year, 2020, fresh, literally freshest tool you can get. That, kind of hard to see, but it says Kraftform, and again, 826T is the part number on the handle. So this time when I press it, we've engaged the turbos. Now, I wasn't sure what to expect with this, and when I turned this, just kind of bench testing it right upon taking it out of the box, here's what I heard. Hopefully you can hear that. I think you'll be able to. I wasn't sure if that was supposed to be how they wanted it. I didn't know, like, has this one been dropped? Is that incorrect? I checked with KC Tool. They said, hey, quickest response time, check with Wera. So I did, and Wera confirmed that is what there should be. There's also kind of a noticeable drag. It's not like if you just installed wheel bearings and new disc brakes and you spin it. There's not really much drag and it'll turn free. That's not really the case here, and it's also simultaneous with your rear end. You don't necessarily hear the gears turning, but with this there's a bit of a drag and you hear the gears. That is perfectly normal. That's how they intended it. That's how they designed it. Personally, I don't object to it. I was just concerned. I wanted to make sure there wasn't something off, if I got a lemon or anything, because it did work fine. It was just a situation where, hey, because I could see him going overkill and it's just being deadly quiet, and you're not even knowing there's gears in it. It's just like a little mystery motor type of a thing. But this you definitely hear, and you can appreciate the mechanical sound, and then more importantly, if this makes sense to you, the feel. I don't know if that translates to everyone else, but I've always said there's like a mechanical feel. And this is one of those things that I reference when I use vague languages like that. So bottom line, if a buddy gets one, if you bring one in, if your local tool dude gets one and you want to try it out, maybe you will be able to understand what I mean. But it's a very one of those things, you're intertwined with the tool, you understand what's going on type of a deal. So I want to highlight though, this is it. That is the Rapidaptor. There's no length, there's no extension. It's not like the Kraftform compact. There's no gun fancy shenanigans. That's it. This is the length that you get, and that's why I genuinely believe the 89mm was selected, because when I put that together, if I had my thumb on this and I was like, check out this new Wera driver, you're not going to know that that's a turbo. You're going to think that looks, you know, just like a standard run-of-the-mill 100 millimeter or 4-inch shaft. And I do believe personally that's probably why they opted to go that route. Now, right over here, I've set myself down a unused number 2 laser tip. This is, again, for testing. It's the 100 millimeter. And when I do this end-to-end, theory confirmed, right? We had a hypothesis, we've tested it. It looks like we were right, because that, again, you can essentially think of this as like you're missing 11 millimeters with a Rapidaptor and the bit seated, and I mean that is end to end to a T, just about as good as it could possibly be. Comparison, again, to a standard number 2 100 millimeter, you can see right there. This one's a little bit bigger, this one's a little bit fatter, and that to me is not a bad thing. In fact, that's one of the things I tend to gripe the most about with reviews of anything, first impressions in particular, whether it be Capri's breaker bar or handles on screwdrivers. I always say, not bad, but I'd like a little bit beefier. This is one of those things, this is actually a pretty good size. I would love to see this size of a handle offered on this driver. I'm sure they have some justification, you know, for like torque specifications and loading out and everything, and this is ideally sized, you know, by engineering specs and everything. I don't necessarily care about that, you know, I know when a screw is tight, and I would just love to have that in my hand because it just fits it better. Now, for some of you, this might be massive and you're going to hate it because of the handle size. For me, the handle size is pretty ideal for this design. Now, I'm trying to think of the best way to showcase this, and I think the slotted blade is a good choice. If you can see right there, you got the 1.2, 5.5, 89. I'm going to come in and I'm going to put my thumb here where it says Kraftform. I'm going to have this hand here on the back. So I'll move it way up so you can see it. And I want you to watch. I'll try to keep my thumb here, and you pay attention to the tip, which is currently essentially perpendicular with the work mat. So my thumb has barely moved. My thumb's about 1/4 of the way. That's a significant difference that the shaft is turned. As my thumb comes back around, we just made 2 revolutions with the shaft. So when I speed this up a little bit, again, we're basically perpendicular. Watch closely with my gloved hand here. Do you see that 4? Right? Even in reverse. This is the turbo feature. This is the turbo in action. And I gotta say, it's pretty cool. As a guy that brings in an awful lot of screwdrivers, probably more so than is necessary or needed, you know, that's just thinks they're neat, you know, appreciates different designs, wants to test everything out. Having something like this come along and enter the marketplace is pretty cool. And the fact that, again, it is all mechanical. Again, I've tried to explain this in the past. I'm someone that prefers to do things the old-fashioned way, mechanical. Got the air compressor over here. Do I use impacts all the time? No, that's primarily for like body work, for cutting out, you know, rusted metal and stuff like that. I don't get the same satisfaction from sitting there with a hacksaw, you know, or a body file and going through, you know, rusted trunk pans on old cars. I'm fine whiz cutting that with air. But in terms of pretty much anything else, regardless of where it is or how caked on or rusted and crusted it is, I prefer to do it by hand. Again, I know other people like me. I know most people are the opposite. True story, you know, if I did this stuff for a living and not as a hobby type of a thing, I wouldn't care. But with my own personal vehicles done on my time, I like to do things manually. And this is kind of where we're at with the turbo. And it's kind of like progressing towards, you know, using a cordless impact or type of a driver, but you still have that hand control to kind of feel in charge and connected to the workpiece. Again, if that any of that makes any sense, you know. But I gotta say, it is quite the neat little setup here. And again, I'm trying to think of ways we could showcase this. Let me come in again, keep your eye on the Wera stuff. You can go about it in that manner. That's kind of wonky though. It's just more natural to do it this way. So my thumb will remain stationary right here. I'm going to turn the handle. We've got it again perpendicular right over the Omega M. I'm going to turn, and we've made the 1/4 turn here with just like, what, 1/8 of the turn. I'm coming in. We've made, you know, the flip. We go around again. If I just start turning that, I mean, that's absurdity. Case in point, if I bring this in side by side, you can kind of see, I mean, for me to turn the tip 4 times, I have to turn the handle 4 times. Whereas with the turbo, we go to just reach the recording limit there, and the battery light's flashing, but still not dead. I kind of wanted to do a demo. I was going to run over to the truck. I'm now kind of thinking maybe we don't do that. Because it is late, I do have work in the morning. In terms of changing the blades, boom. Does this one handle the Felo just like the Rapidaptor on the T-Handle? You probably know the answer, and it is yes. Again, don't let it deter you if you sit there and you see a $160 kit and you're like, oh, I'm not going to try the turbo at that price point. Do like I did. Get the tool as a standalone and go to town. Think of it as your cordless tools. You know, if you're heavily invested in rigid Milwaukee or DeWalt, they sell the tool only without the battery. That's kind of how I've gone to town here. There's my beloved T25, right? Right here, again, bit of thanks, Wera. We're going to drop her in. This would be kind of your most compact you could have the turbo be. And you can see it's got decent length out of there, and I don't think you'd really have too much trouble with it. Coming in, let me try to crack one of these open for you. No, not Torx. I want the number 2 power bit. Why not? We'll get a little gold in your life. So, again, all this stuff, the 89 millimeters, they just drop in and work. There we go, boom. Case in point, again, since that is kind of a higher contrast, that's actually a cool color scheme. There you see it creates essentially a standard 100 millimeter shaft situation. So you come in, 1 turn of the handle, 4 turns of the shaft. Pretty unique deal, I must say. Again, how do we get it out of turbo? We're simply going to press, and now it's a standard driver. It's just like what I have here. I do believe you can use this to torque down in non-turbo mode, and you could also break free. You might not want to do that for the sake of the tool. You know, I might try it a few times. Obviously, something like seized, I'm not going to do it, but just like a standard screw, I might test it out and see what happens. But again, for the sake of protecting your investment, do by what the manual says, right? So there she is. I think in the event of what's going on with the battery, and needing to get in, and a cold front blowing through. If you hear that wind, that's what that is. Alright, I've charged the battery up a little bit, but let me say, in my downtime here, while we waited patiently, cleaned a little bit and had some fun. If you don't enjoy what you're doing, you need to do something else. Welcome to Friday. That's right, it is Friday night. It is 8:59 p.m. as I speak. I got out of work. It was a long day, and then there was a wreck. I got rerouted. Needless to say, we're here ready to finish this thing off. And I tell you what, we had an issue where the battery was dying last night. We also had the memory card maxing out. And more importantly, I couldn't find anything to showcase what the turbo does good. And if you were unaware, again, they tell you this is not intended for torquing. It's not intended for anything like that. It's to literally drive screws down. Kind of in the free spin range, if you will. And so, what I ran into is I said, well, hey, I'm here in the shop, what's the longest screw I can think of? And the longest screw I could think of that I thought would be easy to film and a good example is a rocker sill plate screw in the truck. And I know this because last summer, I guess right before my thumb injury, I had a gallon of water explode, distilled water, of course. I was trying to kind of get by while the core plugs were leaking, right? So that's a long, drawn-out process there. Long story short, though, one of the gallons blew up. It was like the week before my thumb injury happened, and it was one of those days where it's like 110, and I guess it was probably like 140-ish in the truck, and one of them blew up. That's why I bought that rigid fan, which was really nice because you can use the battery or an extension cord. And I was drying it out, but the thing that slowed me down from drying out the insulation and the mat underneath the carpet was the ridiculous length of the rocker sill plate screw as well. I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to break those suckers free, and then we're going to go just twist them out. And I tell you what, that's not happening. It's just a situation where I was on the passenger side. Those are virgin screws that have never been removed. I've not even done stereo stuff on that side. And so needless to say, they were like really gummy, and I couldn't do it. And so I came up, and the next screw readily available, I was like, perfect. It was the trim piece on the passenger seat. Essentially, it's got like the screw right here, and the trim piece runs back here towards, your recline-decline feature, right? Well, as fate would have it, I'm thinking this is going to be awesome. Take it out, I ran it in with a screw. I was trying to film my cell phone too, so we'd have like a timer, make it real fancy. And lo and behold, the screw turned out to be about this long. I did not anticipate that, number one. Number two, it was a situation where in order for me to drive the screw in with the turbo, or any driver for that matter, I was simultaneously having to push forward and up on the panel. You know, it's one of those things where you take the screw out and it drops a little bit. So that was a complete dud. And then I wasn't sure if this would work, and I thought, you know what, it's getting late. I got to get to work. Let me just try it. And so it's important that you understand before you commit to this, before you're all giddy, like, ooh, greatest screwdriver ever, I'm going to go cash in. You've got to take what they say seriously, because it is not for torque, and this will prove that pretty good to you. I took a little block of 2x4 that I trim off for fence repairs, right? It's a virgin screw, virgin piece of wood, drove her down, in and out multiple times. I thought that kind of loosened it up, and I thought, well, surely we're going to get to a point, where the turbo can kind of take over. Didn't happen. And again, this is nothing trickery, nothing fancy. This is just, a wood screw and like I said, a 2x4. And it's not going to happen. Now, you can take turbo mode out and you can drive and, pull back out, no issue. But with this, gotta find my bit here. So, and once again, I mean, this is pretty easy. The Rapidaptor, if you've never used it, it's a pretty nice setup. You might, prefer something from your favorite brand or something, but this is, I don't think, anything you're gonna find complaint or fault with. So, case in point, if I come in and just kind of pin this down right here for you, she's in turbo mode right now. Let me kind of hold it up, and you're gonna see the issue where, see how the handle's turning with me spinning it, but the shaft's going nowhere? Can't reverse, can't go forward, can't do anything. And that, my friends, is the issue. And again, I thought, in and out a couple times, because, I mean, you know how it gets with wood screws. You eventually get to a point where they're just kind of slopping around, and I thought, no, it's going to work for the time constraints. No. And this is a highlight of exactly what the turbo is not going to excel at. What the turbo is really designed to do, and is going to do pretty well, is with machined connections, right? Wood screw, no. Don't go that route. You're going to be severely disappointed. If you buy this with the intention of using it for what you should be using it for, I think you're going to fare a lot better. So for any of you that were thinking you're going to drive wood screws in super fast, and it's going to be awesome, no. Just stop right there, reevaluate your purchase, think about things, and then go to town in that manner. Now, what I've set up here, because all I could come up with last night was if I either A, pulled out a valve body, which I do have spares, I'm just not sure where they are was the problem on that one, or B, figure out where one of the old Hollies is, because I was thinking, okay, what machine screws do I have that are long that we could set up for an example? And I came up with the fuel bowls, and currently, the two easily accessible ones are on the cars, and I don't really feel like taking them off and dealing with, I'd probably start to leak the way things go, and then have to get another kit because I currently don't have any more gasket sets. But bottom line, I know there's another old Holly somewhere, but I thought, it's too late. I'm going to go to work. I'm going to bring something home. I'll figure something out at work. And now at work, if I could film there, which I guess I could, it would, probably not be, smiled upon. But panels, it would be great there. But again, any machined screw connection. What I mean by that is literally a machine screw, like dash panels, things along those lines. Anytime you've got something like this, you're not going to want to tighten it down. You're not going to want to break it free, but all the space in the middle, particularly for really long screws, like if you were doing, again, work in a panel is what comes to my mind. This is going to be something that you appreciate, and it will be an upgrade over sitting there and turning the screw manually. So what I have right here, if you were unaware, is a vise simply to hold this, so I don't have to have my hand here and one hand here, and you would learn nothing, essentially, from that escapade. So I originally had this in the bench vise, and the camera angle was terrible, and I'm thinking there's a chance I could get the cell phone timer here for you. Granted, you could just go by the video timer, but it's more exciting with it here. So that's what we'll try to do. But what I'm going to do, this is a ground lug. Essentially, most motors come with them, some don't, single phases and stuff. But anyway, all that aside, that's what this is. Distribution blocks, anything along those lines, custom automotive wiring, speakers, stereo stuff. You could run into this situation multiple times. It is slotted, luckily. Yours truly planned, not necessarily for this, but I thought, what blades would I use if I built a kit? And I told you, posi drive, When am I going to use that? I can't think of a situation. So my thoughts were kit it out with number 2 Phillips T25 Torx, a couple of slotted blades, and it works great. So that is our work right there. This again is just to hold it in place. It serves no other function. I think you'll be able to see it the best. I realize we're going to obscure it a little bit, but I don't really know how to work around that without having like a film crew. And we're not we're not banking quite enough right there. So anyway, let me come in and try to find where we've got the timer once again. Had this all set up last night. So stopwatch, that's what we're gonna do, okay? We're gonna set this sucker down. I'm not gonna try to set the world on fire. I think you can kind of see that. I'm just gonna come in, we're gonna take this guy right here. We're gonna grab our trusty Kraftform chisel driver. This is the 5.5, and so we will place it. All right, so I'm gonna try to do this as best I can. I'm gonna set the driver here, get it in place. I'm going to hit start again. We're not going to go for world records here, just turning at a normal, leisurely pace. Boom. I'm also trying to keep it where you can see the clock and the screw, which is sort of awkward with a tripod here. But I'm going to say right there, and I've tightened it. Okay, so that was about 10.5 seconds, we're going to say. Okay, and this is tight. You know, it's not like super tight, but it is torqued to the point we wouldn't want to use the turbo. We're going to reset the screw, or the driver into the screw, and we're going to resume from 1270. Back her out. And I'm going to call that good right there. So 22 seconds essentially, right? And we're going to thread this just like we did last time. Obviously I don't want to give a disadvantage to either driver. We just want it to be clocked 90 degrees and the thread started, so we don't sit there and spin it out and look like idiots. So 22:10 is our total time. All right, so we're going to reset. I'm going to set this noble warrior down. We're going to grab the turbo, and we're going to turn the turbo. You can see the turbo is also getting dirty because, again, I was experimenting last night and I just had fail after fail. And for that, I apologize. Now, with the turbo, it's important to note I'm going to have to keep this thumb here to keep it stationary, and so I can engage turbo mode, right? Pay attention. The clock's not really showing up good with my hands there, but pay attention if you can to the screw head. I'll be trying to monitor everything, and if I have to later, we'll probably just like zoom in and try to go that route. So again, not trying to set the world on fire, just turning it as close as I can to the same rate. And you can see what the multiplication of torque does there. 503 is the time. Your eyes do not deceive you. That was just absurd. Again, one turn of the handle, and it's the exact same Wera style Kraftform. It's just a color difference in their striking cap and hex bolster, but same profile. It's not like, oh well, you're using the trash, you know, El Cheapo screwdriver there. This is Wera stuff. I'm keeping it as close to even as I can. Alright, so we had a little fail there. We drove right through. We're going to set this in. Let's see if we can actually break it free. That's going to be our hold-up point. That is too much torque for turbo mode, so what we're going to have to do in that case, if this is all we had to work with, press down the audible click. That's going to mean we're in standard mode. We're just going to break it free. That's all I'm doing right there. She should be turbo ready, I'd say, at this point. So we're going to press once more to engage the turbo mode. You heard the click. We've got 10:01 on the clock thanks to my screw up. We're going to keep this as close as we can. Hopefully you can see everything. And away we go. It almost turns so fast. I mean, we're done. You know, we saved what, like 5 seconds roughly with minimalistic math, with 5 of those seconds being from a failed run. It's about twice as fast. I can tell you one of the issues that you're going to have, at least in this demonstration style, with the turbo, if this was a Phillips screw, we wouldn't experience if it was posi drive, Torx, whatever, but with a slotted screw, if you can pay attention to the screw head, it just turns so fast like we're running out. It's kind of like if bearings were failing in a motor, you know, and the shaft's supposed to spin true, and then all of a sudden it's just looping out. It's that type of a deal. Now that should be able to spin free turbo style. Let's So yeah, but it's a deal where you would have to kind of apply downward pressure. That, you're curious what the fail was, is exactly what happened. I was trying to overcome a drop down, and that's what I got myself into. That said, let me kind of rethread this guy for you. I've got to say, again, if you picked this up and your plan was to do everything with it and quadruplication every screw that you turn, not necessarily the best strategy. If it is a machined connection, I think you're going to be really, really happy. If you do stuff like this, terminal blocks, ground lugs, termination, machine screws, casing, metal to metal connections, whatever it might be. Like this dash back here that you always see is my backdrop. That's a 68-70 rally dash. The screws that run through there go through multiple sheets of metal. That's a machined connection where this would work good. Something as simple as this, that is just not going to happen. The torque is too much. You're going to be miserable. You're going to be upset that you spent the money on the tool. Hopefully you can find applications similar to this where you can take advantage of it. But I gotta say, this thing worked out pretty good. Obviously, if I had a giant ground lug or a distribution block where I had like 5 or 6 of these, which I think I have one somewhere here, but I've got like a ton of projects that have been sort of shelved because of the thumb injury. But anyway, picture not just the one ground lug, maybe a bigger one, but again, maybe picture this same kind of like 2 through 14 size, and have like 6 of them here and then 6 on the back side, right? And imagine going through with this driver and you know, driving them down time after time after time versus doing so with a turbo. And that's where the advantage really comes in. So what I want to do now, again, and I also kind of wish I had a Phillips example because we wouldn't skip out, but at the same time, it's important for you to understand you will want to have that downward pressure because this thing actually turns fast enough to kind of run out. So it's probably not sized ideally, but again, we did try to kind of standardize it across the test. Alright, so same familiar setup. I have switched over to the 6.5 this time, so hopefully it doesn't slop out as much. Again, we kind of just directed that to the 5.5 because that's what we had the driver handy for. But we're going to come in, this is again just threaded and just turned into the point that is going to be parallel so you can kind of keep track of the threads and everything. I'm going to set the turbo in place. I'm going to square it up again. Keep in mind, if you don't have a tripod in front of you and you're like leaning around and looking and everything, this would be way more fluid. But again, we're going to cusp the driver kind of by the speed zone, and I'm just going to do this real slow, like very slow, and that's how quick this thing is seated. Now in terms of backing it out, we didn't have it torqued down all the way, so it's able to spin her free, and we're loose. Alright, so this time I've got it started, as you can see, kind of in our default position. I'm going to drop, actually let's go here, there we go. Got it started, so we're not going to make a mess. I am going to spin this fairly quickly this time. You're not going to see the handle side, but focus on the screw and the shaft itself. You can see what I mean about the run out, like it's that quick. It's kind of scary to look at it through the camera, but keep in mind, if this was a Torx head, if we had Phillips, Posi, Star, whatever, even Hex, you know, anything that's not slotted isn't going to slip and slop this bad. I'm going to go quick. Again, if I press down, I'm just, you know, breaking through the vise side. You know, obviously if it's like mounted in a panel or a junction box, we'd have something solid behind it. But for what we're dealing with, you know, demonstration purposes, it's not terrible. So I'm going to turn this pretty quick and we're going to back it out. That initial turn is kind of where you have trouble, just because, again, it's, you know, just getting started. I'm going to come in right here. We're going to grab this guy, 5.5. We're going to set it down, and I'm going to turn it as quick as I can. This one's not running out. It's just out of position, and that's about where I want to go. So now we're going to back it out. You can hopefully hear the friction from my hand and the glove on the shaft. I'm turning it at a pretty good clip, okay? Now, once more, the turbo, since you just saw that one in action, we're going to hold it in place. And it's done. That right there over-torqued it. It's to a point where this is caught, and I can't drive any more forward, and I also cannot back out. Now if I manually turn the shaft, we broke it free, and so I can come in now and we can turbo out. The gears, they kind of seem clunky, but at the same time, you know, it's enjoyable, if that makes any sense. But I gotta say, in the right application, which this would be an example of it, I think it's a pretty cool tool. And the fact that this is not battery powered, it's never going to die, you're never going to have to stop and recharge it, you're never going to have it fail and have to resort to going full on manual. This is always ready, always good to go. Know the limitations before you buy it. I think it's a pretty cool setup. So one more time for you. Let's give you a slightly different angle. That might be good right there. So again, I'm going to come in right where you see Wera. We're going to grab here. This hand goes up to the top. And that's it. It is driven down, again, to the point that we've torqued out. So when you see this, you understand how fast it is, and also kind of to an extent how sensitive it would be. I'm now going to come out, press down. We have a standard driver. I can break it free with zero issue. I'm now going to press once more. We've got turbo engaged, or actually we don't. Press it again, turbo's engaged, and we just back out at a 4-to-1 ratio. So I gotta say, I was initially very excited and then initially disappointed, because I was thinking, I don't know if they would have wanted it like this. I confirm that's how they want it. That's fine with me. It checks out. And then just trying to find an example last night, things were not going well for the turbo. Coming in and sticking to what it should be doing, it is a pretty beautiful tool. So once again, I wish I had a Phillips screw in here, or hex, or anything like I said, because it would be a better example. All right, so final thoughts here on the turbo. Take what they say seriously. Okay, it is not going to be good for torqued applications. This is too much. It's not going to overcome it. It can when you disengage the turbo mode, but then you're basically using it as a standard driver, which defeats the purpose of bringing it in, regardless of if it's standalone or as a kit. If you're doing machine screws, machined connections, this thing is going to be pretty cool. If you're doing anything beyond that, where it's going to be able to just simply drive the screw in and drive the screw out, no, do not purchase this. Do not invest your money in it. Do something else. If you, however, have an interest in just using the turbo for these machine type connections, it's pretty freaking cool. And as long as you understand that ahead of time, I think you're going to be golden. I could see a situation where a lot of people will buy this and be then trying to drive this screw in quickly, instead of having to do it, like one slow turn at a time. And it's simply not going to work. It's not a situation where it will work but damage the tool, or it'll work but be slow or worse than standard. It will not work in turbo mode at all. It's just not going to turn the screw. And again, yes, you could press the button, disengage it, and go to town, but at that point in time, why would you bring this in? There's no point, right? So in my opinion, if you do a lot of this stuff, if you do a little bit of it, if you do enough of it that you think, hey, this is going to work great, or if you've got machined connections, turbo's the way to go. It's awesome. I think you're going to really enjoy it and appreciate it. And again, it's a unique tool. It's got a unique take on things. And the fact that it's all mechanical is, like I said, kind of cool from the geeky side of things. In terms of just, like everyday fastening of every screw, no. Just know what you're doing, know what the limitations are here, know what this tool does well and what it does not do. And what this does well, it does extremely well and extremely quick. And what this does not do well, it does not do at all. And once you understand that and are willing to accept it, you can make a pretty good decision on whether you want to buy the turbo or not. The T-handle, again, just kind of hit back on that. Pretty cool. Again, for me, all these blades are going to interchange with it perfectly, which was a big selling point. And I also just kind of wanted to investigate, how it feels in the hand type of a deal. Also, while we're talking T-handles, Klein's Journeyman used to be American made. They're now made in Slovenia. I'm kind of wondering if Gador maybe makes them. I don't know if anyone has any ideas. Feel free to throw that out there. But again, lots and lots of new T-handles from Wera. Dual drive, hex head, Torx, everything. They come in the typical holder, the black stand like you would get with the Kraftform drivers. Lots of new stuff. Again, KC Tools, new section, you can find it also on Wera's website. It's also important you understand this stuff's not sent out for free. It's not like KC Tool, like, do here, sell these. It's not Wera, shipping it out to me. I buy this stuff with my own money. If it sucks, I'm going to tell you. If it's awesome, I'm going to tell you. They're my opinions. Some people may agree or disagree. With this, as long as you know what it does and what it does not do, you will know whether you should or should not buy it. If you deal with all this stuff all day long, or an assembly line, or that's what you do at work, that's your little spot in the station, it's awesome. If you do this all day, no, you're throwing your money away, period. Okay, if you want to get a Wera screwdriver for that, get a standard one. Get something like this where you can chip into the wood and do all kinds of cool stuff. Turbo, not good for that. Turbo, great for this. That's about the end of it. As always, my apologies on the length of the video. Again, this was a situation where I broke the tool haul down just to these specific Wera items for the simple fact I wanted to get them out there for you to see, because people certainly seem to want to see it. And again, I'm trying to give you an accurate representation of the tool, and at the same time, I don't have exactly a lot of free time during the week. That's why I usually do this stuff like Saturday night, Sunday type of a deal. And so I tried my best to get this done, ran into some issues, like I said, trying to find an example. Simple ground lug took care of that. Everything's good to go. I think, honestly, if the sill plate didn't have like the adhesive, that would have been a really good example. But anyway, that's another story for another day. I gotta say, I keep running my fingers across that because that bit actually feels really good. You can feel the machine, turn finish on it. But this is what I did. This is how I built this out. I picked up a couple of blades that I thought I would use. I got the T-handle, got the turbo, and I'm going to keep it in an L-box. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. I hope this helps you. I hope it introduces you to the turbo if you were looking for more information. If you had no clue the turbo existed, what do you think of it? Would you use it? Would it work for you? Would it not work for you? For people that were, anxiously awaiting this thing, have you ordered it? Were you waiting for a sale? What do you think of it here? Kind of a real world feedback scenario. And the T-handle people, I don't know that many of you knew this thing was available, so I'm curious about your feedback on that. Again, if you do go this route, keep in mind you could buy the T-handle, kit it out with the bits, and then stick the turbo on standalone. You get the turbo in a kit, grab this standalone like I did, or if you want to go full on custom like we did here, standalone turbo, standalone T-handle, whatever blades you will use. Like I said, Canadian guy might get, a bunch of square stuff that I'm not going to buy. Those of you across the pond are probably going to buy a bunch of posi drive I wouldn't get. This allowed me to stick to what I know, what I use frequently, and what I will ultimately get the most use out of. The fact that I can go tool to tool, though, pretty nice. So with that said, I'm going to quit rambling again. Apologies on the length. That's why I told you at the start. Timestamps are your friends. It's all down below. And, if you're curious about the internals, watch the Wera video. I'll do my best to link to their site so you can check it out. But this stuff is available. It is shipping now. It does tend to sell out. It'll get restocked, I guess, as soon as they possibly can. But it's not quite what I thought it would be, but I feel like I understand the tool a lot better now, and I gotta say I'm kind of dorkily excited about it. So it's one of those things. I can't use it all the time, but when I can use it, I'm going to make a point to use it, and it's, I'm going to enjoy it. So to each their own. Tool of the day pricing on this would be fantastic. I gotta say, if you're on the fence about it and you think I wouldn't get to use it much, wait for that, wait for a bigger sale, but otherwise, you know what it'll do, you know what it won't do. Base your decision entirely off of that. But with that said, I'm out here in the Ballistol puddle still, and I'm going to spray another round of cleaner on that, try to get it going. I got to get some work done on the truck here tonight, and I now need to edit this entire video, which is a complete mess. So long night awaits, but hey, all in the name of fun and learning. So like I said, as always, thanks so much for watching. LoneStarMopars.com is the website. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all three at Lone Star Mopars. I'll try to get some cool pictures of these things up for you as well. But again, know what it does, know what it doesn't do. Go entirely off of that, and you will be fine. But like I said, I will be using it as frequently as possible, and I think I'm going to enjoy it. So on that note, thanks for watching. I hope everybody has a great Saturday and a great weekend. Stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy, keep getting cool tools. And I will catch you back here next weekend for more action from the shop.